Welcome everyone to the Talking Kentucky Postgame show. My name is Coleman Scott. I'm joined here by Brad Harvey of College Sportscast for the first Talking Kentucky Postgame show of the season, as the Cats get the victory over Ball State 44-14 in what I would call a so-so game. We had some positives, we had some negatives. Just going through a little general spiel really quick to start stuff off here. I think you look at the positive side of things. I think the overarching positive for everybody is that special teams is way improved this year compared to last year. I think we were 3 for 3 on field goals, all of which were over 40 yards. And we hit all our extra points, and that was just simply not the case last year. So that was certainly a plus and a relief that we are improved on that side of the ball. We did all the little things well. We were able to tackle. We didn't have many missed tackles. We were able to not fumble snaps. We were able to do all these little things well that we couldn't necessarily count on last year. And most of all, probably what I'm most excited about is we were able to get to the quarterback. We had 8 tackles for loss in just the first half. I almost said in tonight's game. I guess it was today's game. It was an early game today. But we had 8 tackles for loss to where we only had 50 on the entire season last year. So that's good. That's a much improved stat if we stay on that. So. But then there were some negatives too. I mean, the offense was not as well oiled as I would have liked. We were sloppy sort of on that side of the ball. Kenneth Horsey goes down, and what hopefully is not a long-term injury, but it certainly didn't look good because he was carted off the field, and he was able to walk off the field in his own power, but you certainly don't like to see him go down. And on that same token, the O-line still looked a little shaky. It was still improved from last year, but it still might be an area of concern long term, especially if Kenneth Horsey isn't eligible or isn't ready to go if he's still hurt. We heard going into this season the secondary might be an issue, and it looked like that certainly was a concern today, as Ball State was able to air it out for 223 yards. On us, which is sort of concerning. I think when a MAC team goes over 200 on you. So, and they were able to get some big time plays through the air on us at that. So they weren't just dink and dunk plays. So that's sort of the scope of things. Brad, thank you for joining me. I know that you haven't really had a chance to watch the game in its entirety yet, but you're going to go back and watch that. And
I got it recorded. I was working.
Well, no. I mean, that is totally cool. But we're getting the organic Brad Harvey take here on Talking Kentucky. But you do know the final score. You do know some numbers.
Oh,
you do know a few things. So, what are your initial reactions to just sort of how things went down today in Lexington?
Well, so I think the offense was a lot slower getting going than kind of what most of us expected. We were down 7-3 at the end of the first quarter, and so it got going a little bit better, by the second quarter, but I think it was a little slower getting going than what we kind of expected. Clyde, what's up, man? I appreciate you guys being on with us. So that's kind of my initial thought. I don't think that Leary had his best game today, to be honest with you.
I would agree with that.
I think Leary, I'm not saying he was a mess or nothing, but I don't think he played his best game. I think we'll see down the road, we'll see a lot better games. So that's another take. The Kenneth Horsey going down is concerning. Going forward, your take on them having 223 pass yards. I mean, their quarterback, Hatcher, I think was his name. He has over 10,000 yards in his career.
Yep.
So I knew they were going to be a passing team.
Mm-hmm.
223 is not terrible.
Not terrible. Yeah.
It's not terrible on a team that passes as much as they do and has a quarterback with over 10,000 yards. So that's kind of my first initial takes on it so far.
Sure. Well, and this offensive line, the Ball State offensive line, actually finished in the top 5 Division I last year in terms of the efficiency of the line. And they only ran for 72 yards on Kentucky today. So I feel like with the line that's
and we
good.
had 3 sacks. I think we had 3 sacks.
We had at least 3 sacks. I know we had 8 tackles for loss.
Yeah, so, I think we had 3 sacks, which is better than what we did last year in most games.
Yep.
So that's kind of encouraging. I know Khalil had a sack and a half by himself.
Yep.
So that's good to see. JJ Weaver got a sack.
He did,
which is always nice to see. I'd love to see Weaver, JJ have a big year.
Yep, I like to see him get back there.
Trevin Wallace was apparently all over the field, had 12 tackles. Dude,
he was a beast. Trevin Wallace is the player of the game today, in my opinion. He was all over the field.
He was all over the field. He had 12 tackles, so he seemed to be all over the field today. So we want to definitely give him a shout out because he played great. It sure looked like anyway.
And you look at Leary's numbers, I mean, it's not terrible at all. It's on paper, 18 for 31, 241 yards and a touchdown, 1 interception. The interception, I don't know if you saw it, Brad, it was kind of a fluke. And that's what Stoops said in his postgame is he can't put all of the blame on Leary for some of the things that didn't go well. Some timing was just wrong. I think Dane Key, it sort of looked like he may have been in the wrong place at the wrong time on that interception, and Leary was expecting him to go somewhere else, and maybe it didn't look like
he zigged and he should have zagged.
It zigged and should have zagged. Yeah, exactly. Last year we saw some honestly kind of boneheaded throws from Will Levis at times. I didn't see any of those kind of throws from Leary. In fact, the best throws that I saw from Leary were like really good. Like when he's on it, like it's right on the money, and you can't ask for anything better. So I think there's a lot of potential there. And really what I think we need to do with him, Brad, going into these next 2 non-conference games is just get him, throwing these just little dink and dunk sort of passes down the field, get his confidence up and get him comfortable and get our offense rolling, which, we had one return for a touchdown from a kickoff return for a touchdown from Berrien Brown today, and we had one defensive touchdown, which is great, but we didn't really get the chance for our offense to get in a rhythm today because of that. Our offense wasn't on the field as much as we really had anticipated today. So, yeah.
One of my offensive concerns is we only had like 18 carries running.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Might not even been 18.
We had 20. We had 20, it looks like. 20 rushing attempts.
That's counting Leary's. I think Leary had 4, and I don't know if he actually rushed or what.
Oh, but well, that's true. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
See, that's counting Leary's. So if you're talking about handoffs to running backs, I think it was like 16 or 18, which is not very many.
Well, and one thing that surprised me about the running game, honestly, is that we didn't have a lot. I mean, like Ray Davis was really the only one that ever touched the ball, especially in the first half. Now, Juton McClain got some touches too, but we have 4 guys at running back. I thought we were going to spread the love a little bit more there, and we didn't do that today. It was Ray Davis,
especially against Ball State.
Yeah, especially against Ball State. But Ray Davis did have a monster game: 14 carries for 112 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I think he's going to be everything that we expect him to be. He does have that sort of Chris Rodriguez, Benny Snell-esque type of, package going on, but he also has some explosiveness. I mean, we saw him break a couple open into the open field. So, and that also is encouraging regarding the offensive line. Because
I'm surprised I didn't see Ramon Jefferson with a few carries.
I am too. I thought that he might be the number 2 guy, honestly.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that we didn't see him with some carries.
Yeah, I'm very surprised. I don't think he got a single touch today. I believe it was just Ray Davis and Juton McClain. that touched it today. So who I didn't even realize was still on the team. I didn't even realize Utah McLean was still on the team. To be honest with you, I thought that was kind of a name from the past. I thought he had gone on to bigger and better things. But Marcus Cox was the star of the offensive line, in my opinion. He had a few tackles that he just opened up a hole you could drive a school bus through it. I mean, it was awesome. I think next to Devin Leary, he may have been the best guy that we got out of the portal because we needed to get better up front, and I think he's going to be a huge addition this year. So want to give him a shout out for sure.
Who filled in for Kenneth Horsey when Horsey went down?
It was that guy from
Who filled in for Horsey when Horsey went down?
It was that guy from West Virginia.
Bowles?
No, it wasn't Tanner Bowles. I think it was a transfer from West Virginia. His name is escaping me.
So it was like Dylan Ray.
Dylan Ray. That's
Dylan
him.
Ray, I think.
Yeah. I think he's from West. Isn't that right? Didn't he transfer from West Virginia? Am I making that up?
Yeah. He's from West Virginia. Yeah,
he's from West Virginia. Okay, gotcha. Well, I already said that Ray Davis is a stud, and also I have a few people written down here that are studs. I wrote down Trayvon Wallace is a stud, Ray Davis is a stud, and then finally Dane Key is a stud. 5 receptions for 96 yards and a touchdown. I think 3 of those receptions were for over 20 yards. So he's also going to be everything he's cracked up to be this year. So I think sophomore Dane Key is going to be a huge jump this year. Huge target, especially in the red zone. So being the height that isn't he like 6'4" or something?
Yeah, he's somewhere in that range. Yeah, somewhere.
He's up there. So he's just going to go just catch it on people's heads this year. So, well, I wanted to look at a couple of highlights here. Let's just at least look at the scoring highlights here to kind of kick off the episode here. So, first of all, well, I mean, we had we marched it right down the field, Brad, when the first play was a Devin Leary like 20-30 yard pass to Dane Key down the field, and I was ready to reserve my hotel room in Atlanta. I mean, I was looking for SEC championship tickets. I mean, I was a happy camper for sure. But then we had this nice little sweet pass to Barryon Brown. He drops it, and then we have to settle for a field goal. Otherwise, I think that would have been 6 on the first possession there. But it was all, and Stoops even said this in his post-game press conference too, interview with Tom Leach, that it was almost just as good that we had to kick a field goal on the first drive to put everybody at ease for the special teams, and the fact that show everybody that we can catch a snap and we can make a field goal, unlike last year. So that was good. But then, then Ball State answers with the touchdown. Everybody kind of gets a little bit nervous and a little bit like, uh-oh, what's going on? But then Ray Davis answered with this touchdown here.
Backfield. Davis gets the handoff, cuts it to the right side, and gets into the end zone for a touchdown.
What vision by the running back. Unbelievable job by the offensive line, but he was untouched.
And you know whose voice that is, Brad? That's the old Vanderbilt coach, Derek Mason, was calling the game today.
Derek Mason?
Mason was up there, yeah. I actually thought, I don't know who the other guy was, but I actually thought it was kind of savage. Before the game, Derek Mason said, "Oh, it's good to be up here in the box instead of down there on the field." And the other guy said, "Yeah, you can't lose up here." I thought that was pretty. I thought, man, Mason's pretty ballsy to say on television there. But then after that, we had Jalen Geiger made his sort of reappearance after his ACL injury last year with this huge scoop and score, which I think this was a big turning point in the game where all the momentum kind of shifted into Kentucky's favor here. So Jalen Geiger with the scoop and score.
Back in.
Here's Hatcher, steps up underneath. Koziel makes the catch, and he got popped. Ball comes free. No whistle. On the run. The catch, Jalen Geiger will take it to the end zone.
What a play by Jalen Geiger. Wow. Right place, right time.
66 yards. Koziel got walloped by Trevin.
And honestly, I thought that may have been everybody thought they were going to call that back for targeting. They didn't because it wasn't targeting. But man, that was electric. We needed that.
Anytime the defense can score, whether it's a scoop and score or a pick six, you are in business in a ball game.
That's absolutely right.
Just about every time.
Well, then a couple of possessions later, I know you didn't, I don't know if you've heard about the whole second scoop and score, the scuttlebutt about that, or the controversy.
I have not.
Yet. So we did have another clean hit and obvious fumble that we took back for a scoop and score. The ref blew it dead, and they reviewed it. We got the ball, but they took the touchdown off the board because they blew the play dead. And Stoops was absolutely livid because it could have been 24-7.
Yeah.
Going into half, and Stoops was pretty angry about it. So Stoops was in midseason form in the first half here. So,
well, they just cost Kentucky a touchdown.
But they still have to look at it. They may not give them the touchdown.
It was an immediate recovery by Kentucky, which would allow them, even though,
to possess the football,
to get the.
So Stoops was on it there.
He was chewing him out, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. So that was, and yeah, honestly, I don't know if it was an SEC officiating crew or who they were, but the game was not officiated well, and that's not saying that they were trying to screw Kentucky or anything. I'm not saying that. They just didn't do a good job at their job. Like, you're not supposed to blow a play like that dead. You're not supposed to do that. You can go back and review it, and you could take the points off if it wasn't a fumble. But if you blow it dead and it wasn't dead, then you have to take the points off the board.
Well,
and that's
I don't even understand. So if you blow the play dead, wouldn't you have to blow it dead before the fumble? How could you blow a play dead?
Well, they were saying
and then allow a fumble.
Well, they were saying that he was down. They called it back as he was running back for the touchdown, saying that he was down. So that's when they blew it dead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I got you.
But still, you don't do that, because then when you review it, then you can make that determination and make the right call, rather than you can't put the points back up on the board.
Right.
Which was frustrating. And obviously Stoops was frustrated as well there. Then we finally had our first Devin Leary touchdown thrown to Dane Key on the other end.
Release from the tight end.
He will roll it right.
Coming back with Boo.
Over the middle. Touchdown. Flag down, touchdown, Kentucky. Dane Key in the back of the end zone from 6 yards out.
And then it seems like we have to have at least one of these a year. Berrien Brown with a 99-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, showing off his speed early on this season.
No, right? How do you respond to that adversity? They certainly were dealt it in the first half, losing a guy like Clayton Call. To see their response and under a new quarterback like that says a lot about their response and facing it.
Mr. Electric.
Here is a response from Kentucky. Berrien Brown had a 100-yard return last year. This one will go 99 yards.
We hadn't called his name a lot in this ball game, but it doesn't take long for this young man to show what the magic looks like.
You're not catching Berrien Brown.
No, you're not.
In space, if you give him space, nobody is catching Berrien Brown.
And that's a very valuable weapon to have. I mean, Tavion Robinson is returning the punts, with Berrien Brown returning the kickoffs. I mean, our special teams are in a very good place. I mean, that's my biggest takeaway from the game, is that our special teams are in a great place. And when you can fire on all three cylinders, I mean, to be a really great football team, Freddie Maggard is real big on this. You got to be great offensively, defensively, and on special teams.
Oh, yeah.
You can't just have two. It's got to be all three. And last year, we just didn't have the capacity to be good on special teams. And this year,
horrible on special teams.
Well, that's why I'm very sort of encouraged after today, is because special teams is firing on all cylinders already. The problems we were having on offense and defense, they can be fixed. They're very fixable. Last year, we just sort of felt this sense at the beginning of the season of I just don't know if we have the right pieces this year. This year, I feel like we have the right pieces to get where we want to be. We just got to tighten up some things. And, Stoops said in his post-game interview with Tom Leach that he was pissed. And, you look at the score, we won by 30. And there's a lot of people today that did not win by 30. And you look at TCU, lost to Colorado at home, right? A team that's supposed to win 3 games this year. Looking at some of these other scores around the country.
They just don't play any defense in the Big 12. It's just like, what's the deal?
They don't. They absolutely don't. I just saw Mississippi State was only up less than 2 touchdowns on Southeastern Louisiana going into the second half. So, everybody has their things in opening week. So, somebody made a good point on Matt Jones's postgame show that last year, maybe we only win this game by 10 or 13. This year we win it by 30, and I think that's the difference between this year's team and last year's team. So,
well, I mean, when you're getting kickoff return touchdowns and scoops and scores, that really helps. Like those 2 things, you get those in ball games, you're gonna not only win games, you're probably gonna win by a few touchdowns in most cases.
That's right, absolutely. So, and I'm encouraged because we've got Eastern Kentucky. I don't know if you've seen this. I got to check up on this Cincinnati Eastern Kentucky game. It was getting pretty ugly there, and Cincinnati's not even supposed to be good this year. They've got old Scott Satterfield's up there now from Louisville, so we know how he did at
Emory
Jones,
the old Florida quarterback.
That's right. That's right. They do.
Yep, that's their quarterback.
So Cincinnati's up on EKU. Fourth quarter just started, 59-10. So
kind of ugly.
that's encouraging news. I don't want to jinx anything, but that's encouraging news for the Colonels coming into Kroger Field next week. That's pretty ugly. Yeah, that's about as bad as it gets there. So, I think the person that probably is the most qualified to speak on the offensive line is probably Devin Leary. And after the game, he said that he felt comfortable, and he was only sacked twice. One was kind of a fluky sack at the end of the game. So really, in my eyes, he was only sacked once, and that was in the fourth quarter. And I mean, that's good. We couldn't say that last year, even against these, kind of stinky teams in the beginning of the year. They were getting to us, and they were breaking through our O-line. So here's Leary talking about his O-line.
Just being under center, how would you judge our offensive line and yourself today?
Yeah, I felt fine. I feel like, honestly, I barely got touched today. And, credit to those guys. They came into this year, and they're going to continue to play with a chip on their shoulder because, what they keep hearing about last year or keep hearing, interpretations of what this offensive line is going to be. So, credit to those guys. I'm really proud of those guys. I think they did a great job understanding what they needed to do every play and protecting as best as they could. And like I said, we'll watch the film, learn where we can get better. But overall, I'm really proud of those guys.
So that's encouraging to me. We couldn't say that last year. So, and I feel like that guy has ice water in his veins. Honestly, I feel like, he came out right away. And like I said, first play of the game, first play of the season, play action to Dane Key, wide open. He was cool as a cucumber, just came out and he looked very comfortable. And he also avoided some sacks too. Honestly, he was able to come out and I feel like he was more comfortable, dare I say, or more elusive in the pocket than even Will Levis was. So I think that's going to be a plus moving forward too. And Clyde here in the comments down here says O-line much improved. I agree, Clyde. He also says we beat this team better than we beat Miami of Ohio last year. Yeah, I remember kind of feeling not great after the Miami game last year. And I don't feel great right now either, but I feel like I feel better than I did last year. So that's at least a start. So
the only time last year that I really felt good was the Florida game.
Yep. And I would agree with that. Absolutely.
Really?
I second that. Well, we'll go ahead and open up the phone lines here. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts on the game. 502-234-1504. Give us a shout. Tell us your thoughts on the game. And let's see. Let's look at some other stats here. I think total yards through the air for Kentucky was 241. Total yards altogether for both teams. Ball State 295. Kentucky 357. Ball State actually won the time of possession, Brad. They 38-16 to Kentucky's 21-44. So that's a little,
that's lopsided.
Little strange.
That's a little lopsided.
And for it to be that lopsided, and for us to still win by 30 is is encouraging. I don't care who you're playing. If you win the time of possession like that, you should be pretty in the ball game, right?
Yeah.
In my
Oh,
opinion.
you should. Absolutely.
Caden Holmes is down in the comments here. He says,
Yeah,
is
I
Colorado
see Caden.
going 12-0? I don't know if they're going 12-0. We'll pump the brakes a little bit on that, but
so they've got an offense and they've got one really good, outstanding corner, and we all knew that. Travis Hunter is an outstanding corner, but he's only on one side of the field. So,
their quarterback Shadur Sanders is Deion's son.
Yes.
Threw for over 500 yards today.
I saw 510. Yeah,
I mean, that's
4 touchdowns and no picks.
That's impressive no matter who you're playing. But when you go on the road against the defending national runner-ups, I mean, that's
runner-ups.
That's pretty great.
You have to give it to them. They really shocked the college football world today. Colorado did to start the season off. You got to give Deion a little bit of love to get that done. So, and I know others will give him a lot of love, but I'm gonna hold off just a little bit longer. We'll see.
On the Colorado
I'm not so sure. TCU's replacing a lot.
Yeah,
I knew preseason they would be in the 15 to 20 range in the rankings, but that's mainly off of last year.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I'm not sure if TCU is a, 7-5, 8-4 team this year, or I mean? I'm not 100% sure yet.
Yeah, I'm not either. Last year they were unranked going into Boulder in the opening game. So then they ended up in the national championship. So yeah, TCU is kind of a wild card.
Yeah,
all those teams are. Checking in on a couple games, and again, anybody that wants to call, I don't know if Clyde's into Clyde's. I don't know if you know Brad, but he's packing up to move here in a few days, so he's staying busy, but he's still making time to be in the show. And
he's not moving out of Kentucky, is he?
He's not moving out of Kentucky. That's my understanding. He's moving out of Lexington, but not out of Kentucky, as far as I know. But
okay.
I don't know if he's planning on calling, but, we'll throw that number up there, especially you never called before. Give us a shout, 502-234-1504. Ohio State is up on Indiana, 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, 20-3. Washington's beaten Boise State 35-19. Texas is finally pulling away from Rice, which is encouraging for Texas fans, 37-3 there in the fourth quarter. Notre Dame, 56-3 over Tennessee State. Auburn pulled away from UMass 52-14. Wisconsin 31-10 over Buffalo. Let's look at some of the 59-10 we already said with Cincinnati and Eastern Kentucky. Mississippi State finally pulling away 34-7 over Southeast Louisiana. Everybody's just kind of getting into it. Brad, everybody's taking their sweet time. It seems like.
Well, so the first games are always, seems like most of the time they start out slow for most teams. You're just coming together, first snaps of the season.
Caden says 56-3. Now, Caden, if you think that's bad, okay. Oklahoma beat Arkansas State today 73-7.
It was 73-0 earlier. I seen that.
Yeah. So that's what we call lopsided. 73-7.
Brent meant business. He wasn't pulling nobody out of that game.
No, he wasn't. Yeah, Mark Stoops felt bad about that last Ray Davis touchdown. He said he didn't want to rub it in or didn't want to run up the score or anything.
Hey, it was a cover. He covered the spread.
He did cover. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got to cover the spread, right?
The 30 points that Kentucky won by today covered the spread.
Yeah.
And in the world that we're doing, in the world that I'm doing with College Sportscast and trying to pick winners and losers and everything else, if somebody's going to cover the spread, whether somebody's, Colorado's going to keep, like I picked Colorado, I think, to hold it within the spread. So, I won that game, not because I picked TCU to win. I won that game because I picked TCU to, hold it within the spread, against the spread.
speaking of 73-7, Ole Miss beats Mercer 73-7 as well. So Ole Miss off to a hot start there. Hotty toddy.
Ole Miss has got one of the best running backs in the nation.
Is it that same kid from last year?
Judkins. He was a true freshman last year.
They're returning their quarterback too, Jackson Dart, this year. So glad we don't have to play them this year. Unless, of course, we both make the SEC championship, in which case we have to do that. But, speaking of getting off to a slow start, first quarter's almost over. Georgia is only winning 7-0 over UT Martin. So keep your eye on that game. Georgia hasn't started pulling away or anything yet. So
Georgia actually plays Ball State next week.
I saw that. What a tough 1-2 punch. Got to go at Kentucky and at Georgia.
They played us today, and then next week they go to Athens to play Georgia.
Yeah, that's
so
tough.
It'll be interesting. That's a score that I'm going to pay attention to. After does Georgia beat them 60-3 next week, or you know what I mean? Like just what the score is.
I think we're getting a call here. You're on Talking Kentucky. Who's this?
This is John. How's everybody doing?
What's up, John? Just John Hammonds, I figured.
Yeah, this is him. What's going on?
What's going on, man? Thanks for calling in.
Hammonds is with me on College Sportscast.
Oh yeah, Brad say, oh, you can't hear him probably because he's coming through my headphones. But John is saying, Brad is saying that John is on with Brad on College Sportscast. So yes.
Well, good thing Brad can't hear me because I don't really want to hear him today. So.
No, I can hear you.
Oh, he can hear you. You just can't hear him. So.
Oh, I'm just giving him a hard time. But I know there's a lot of kind of question marks today. I mean, I've seen a lot of overreactions about start there, Will Levis, Devin Leary.
Yep.
And I think they need to tone it down a little bit. He's coming off a 2-year, he ain't played in 2 years.
That's right.
And it's just going to take him time to get evolved into the offense, get the wide receivers together and know when to be on the same page. I thought the defense played really well today. I feel like good luck running on us if you ever do, because I think we got a really good run defense. Now, the secondary needs a lot of work. I think they gave up quite a bit of yardage through the air. They was giving up little short stuff, and that's got to stop when you get into SEC play. You can't be doing that. But overall, I felt like we did really good. I was told on the radio today that the Ball State coach wasn't too happy with Stoops running the score up, which I think he was doing a lot of that to get people reps.
Absolutely. Yep.
He was trying to get guys in there and whatnot. I don't think Stoops would do that on purpose because Stoops
he was just covering. He was covering the spread, Hammonds.
But overall, I feel like we played good today. What did he say? What did Brad say?
Brad said he was just covering the spread. He wasn't trying to run up anything. Yeah.
That's a joke, by the way.
I'll let y'all get back to the show. I just wanted to kind of drop in and aggravate Brad a minute and talk a little bit about Kentucky. I just got to say one thing.
Yeah, man.
I want to go. I just want to say this. How about prime time?
Yeah. Is John a big Deion Sanders guy, Brad?
He knows that I'm not.
Well, I'm not either. I've been making fun of him all off season, so I'm with you there, Brad. Yeah. But I don't know, man. I still feel like we need to pump the brakes. I don't know, man. Like it's one game. I mean, it's one game. I mean, they're not going to win the national championship or anything, but we'll see. Time will tell. I think week 2 is like the biggest overreaction week. So when everybody's making their bets and making their predictions for this next week, everybody's going to predict Colorado to crush. I don't even know who they play next week. But,
they play Nebraska at home. It's actually a pretty big game, and Nebraska didn't look good.
Yeah, they probably will crush Nebraska. Yeah, they probably will crush Nebraska, actually.
I'm kind of flipping on that one.
Yep. They just got the coach from Nebraska got the coach from the Panthers, right? He came to Nebraska.
Matt Rule was their coach.
Matt Rule, who was at Baylor before that.
Yeah.
So, didn't look great the first game. So, well, they kind of
Well-
blew it though, didn't they? I mean, they had the game won, and they kind of pulled a old Kentucky football on them.
Yeah, late in the game.
So,
yeah.
yeah. Well, we'll man it. We'll certainly monitor the primetime radar as the season goes on. So,
Well, he also knows that I like saying prime time, prime time.
yeah. Oh, who wouldn't love saying that?
You know what I mean? From Chris, Boomer off of ESPN.
Yeah,
When he was doing the highlights, he always was prime time.
that's
prime
right.
time.
Boomer. Yep. And now John's down in the comments there. Yeah, laughing at your prime time there.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah. So, coaches say that the biggest week of improvement is week 1 to week 2. So hopefully that's the case. So Brad, I know you didn't get to watch the whole game yet, but what are your sort of things that you're going to look for next week? The biggest improvements between week 1 and week 2.
Well, so Eastern Kentucky is another team who can pass the ball really well. Like they have a quarterback and they have a system and they have some receivers. Actually, Conrad is the tight ends coach there, are helping with the tight ends.
That's right. Forgot about that.
At EKU, and ex-Kentucky player, tight end, CJ Conrad.
Yep.
And so it's another team next week that is going to come out passing the ball. Now, it's Eastern Kentucky. They should not be on the same level of us, but the one thing really to kind of look at next week is, do they light us up in the passing game and then we hold them and they can't score? You know what I mean? But are we giving up huge passing plays, basically?
Are we making the same mistakes next week that we made this week kind of thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it matters who you're playing. I think that the mistakes that we made today, I think that we can.
Overall, Brad White's defense is probably going to hold them out of the end zone a whole lot.
Right.
But, when it's, 1st and 10 from the 25 and you got 75 yards to go, are we giving up a 25-yard passing play to a team like Eastern Kentucky?
Which would not be good.
Right.
Now, I did want to point out, my score prediction was 42-14. So I was pretty close on that.
That's pretty good.
I was pretty close. I'll see if I can keep that hot streak going into next week. I won't pick anything too crazy. But but that being said, I don't think that the score surprised me necessarily. I feel like it was just like the way that in which we won. It felt like just the offensively things weren't as easy as I would have, or as simplistic as I would have liked them to be. And maybe I was expecting Cohen to keep it pretty vanilla, especially this first week as far as creativity and things. And we saw a lot of eye candy, especially in the opening drive. But maybe he's got even more up his sleeve. Maybe this was vanilla comparatively.
I'd say it is. Yeah, would be my guess.
But we'll see. But at the end of the day, we're 1-0, and that's all we can ask for. That's all you can ask for in football, is to get a win. That's all that really matters at the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
So
you got to take each week at a time. Every coach says that, the coach talk. But next week we get Eastern Kentucky. I think that Cincinnati score from this week is interesting when you're looking at Eastern Kentucky. And then I also think that it'll be interesting as a Kentucky fan to keep an eye on the Georgia Ball State game next week as well.
Absolutely. Yes, I'm going to be watching that. So, and I'm going to compare the Eastern game to the Cincinnati Eastern game for sure.
Yeah.
But I'll be keeping an eye on that Georgia game for sure, which let's see before we get out of here. Let's see how that Georgia game is going. Looks like UT Martin's got the ball with a minute left in the first quarter, driving down the field on Georgia. So it's 7-0 Georgia still, but the Skyhawks are hanging in there. So we'll see. I might go throw that game on over there and see how that's going. But
yeah.
I think that you got any other hot takes, Brad, on the game or anything?
Well, I mean, so talking about Devin Leary, Leary, from everything that I hear, Leary likes to roll to his right.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that.
He likes to operate and kind of, I mean, not that he can't stay in the pocket. He does stay in the pocket and does a great job of that. But if he has to break containment, he likes to roll to his right.
Yeah.
So, that's one thing to keep an eye on. I'm hearing he is great at rolling to his right and being able to pass and drop back and pass. So, I think that's something to kind of keep your eye on. And then when he is moving, you were kind of talking about how he was maybe a little more elusive in the pocket than Will Levis.
Yeah.
So here's my take on that. Levis, when he moved, Levis was more like a bulldozer, and I'm going to run you over, and I'm going to jump over you. And he just and he could run the ball. Levis would.
Right.
Now, the difference with Leary is he moves in the pocket and moves up, but he keeps his eye downfield.
Yeah.
And Leary, even though he is moving around and escaping in the pocket, his eyes are still looking at his receivers, and he's still, looking over the field. And when somebody pops open, he's gonna have a cannon, and he's gonna throw it to him most of the time on a dime.
Yeah.
And that's two big things. I'd like to see Tavion Robinson step up still and kind of be that third guy. Barryon, I think, only had 3 receptions today. I know he had a great game simply because he had a kickoff return. That doesn't happen. And he's had 2 now back-to-back seasons. So, in the first game of each season, by the way, against MAC schools, his first one last year was against Miami of Ohio, first game. And
that's right.
And then he had one today, a first game against a MAC school, Ball State.
That's good tie in there. But yeah, Barryon had 3 receptions for 39 yards. Tavion Robinson.
Like to see him. 3. I'll be honest with you. I'd like to see Dane and Barryon and Tavion really have at least 5 catches a game.
Here's the thing, though, that I would like to see more of going forward. And maybe this is just, again, Cohen trying to keep it vanilla for now and saving some stuff, but we only had 1 tight end reception today and only 1 tight end target. It was to Brendan Bates. Now it went for 30 yards.
Right.
So when we throw to the tight ends, I feel like it goes well. So the sort of repeating refrain that all Kentucky fans ask is, why don't we throw to the tight ends more?
Yeah.
And hopefully we do that. I mean, that's the one thing I think I'd like to see.
Demi from NC State had a couple of catches today. He's kind of a
he's kind of
a backfield guy, but he comes out of the backfield to catch the ball. He's really good at it. That's something to watch. Actually, Juton McClain is pretty good at catching the ball out of the backfield as well.
Yeah, he's got that speed, right?
And so that's something to watch. Clyde, I see you got Dane Key down there. Dane Key had a heck of a game, and he's going to have, and he had 6 catches. That's where Dane really needs to be. 96 yards, I believe, and a touchdown, which is that's where I would like to see the guys, at least 5 catches. And I think all 3 of them have that kind of talent. The difference today is Leary was only 18 of 31.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you're 24 of 31, where you would like to be, then you got 6 more receptions, and you spread that out over your 3 or 4 guys, and then you got most of them are close to 5 catches a game.
Yeah. How about
that? Also would like to see more carries. So it doesn't look like that we had a whole lot of time of possession today. I'm going to guess that we didn't get to run a whole lot of offensive plays. 21 minutes.
We only ran, I think it's 51 plays today.
See, that's way too low. Like we need to push for 70 plays.
Yeah. And again, part of that is because of the defensive success and the special team success that we have with the kick return and the defensive score. So I mean that's not a bad
51
thing.
51 offensive plays is way too low.
But that's again why Stoops wasn't trying to run up the score or anything. We needed reps, right?
Yeah.
That's really what the offense wasn't necessarily playing bad. They just needed to get into a rhythm, and they never got into a rhythm today. And hopefully we can do that next week against Eastern Kentucky, especially since it looks like they do in fact suck. So hopefully,
like I said, that's an ugly score.
Yeah, that is not a great score there. But hey, how about this? Trevon Wallace, 12 total tackles, 6 solo tackles. Yeah. The 2 tackles for loss. Yeah, he was all over the field today. Jordan Lovett, 7 tackles, 4 solo tackles. JJ Weaver had a sack. He had 4 solo tackles and 6 total. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to build on here. I think my takeaway from the game is that we have the pieces to be really good, but we do have a ways to go. We do have.
I know Miami of Ohio had a pretty good line coming back, but I will say this on the defensive side, I was surprised not to see Deion Walker more in the stats.
I completely agree with that. Yes,
he only had 2 tackles, I think. You was looking at him, but I think he only had 2 tackles. I was a little more surprised.
He did. He had 2 tackles. Yep.
Deion Walker has got extreme talent, and he showed it in the SEC last year.
Yep.
Against, that kind of talent, you would think he could handle, Miami of Ohio a little better. So I was a little surprised at that on the defensive side of the ball.
But I didn't even know who this Saunders guy was. Khalil Saunders. I mean, was he even on the team last year?
Yeah. He played. I think he was a backup. I don't think he started.
Okay.
But
maybe it's coming back to me a little bit. But I mean, he was a surprise on the D line to me. Honestly, I mean, he was getting back there too. What did he have today?
He had a sack and a half.
He had a sack and a half, 2 solo tackles, 4 total tackles. I mean, he surprised me. He got after it out there.
Right.
So anybody else that wants to call, we'll kind of do a last call for calls here. We we have one caller, but we gotta have some more. Let's get the big win. It's opening day. 502-234-1504, or throw a comment in the feed. Yeah, there you go. Do the whole call me that Brad's doing there. Yeah. So Jalen Geiger too was another guy that just he with the having to kick the scoop and score thing. I mean, I feel like having him back out there is
on the field after being hurt last year and having to miss. Like, he blew out his knee. He's coming back really, probably earlier than what most normal people would. And, they said he was ready, and he sure looked like it. So it's good to see Jalen Geiger back on the field. And absolutely. Kentucky fans, y'all ought to know what this is.
Yeah, I know. It's DeMarcus Cousins, right? We got to know who that is. Brad, I'm going to be watching some LSU Florida State tomorrow. Now I'm going to put my Cajun face on and go ahead and jump into my Cajun jeans and
for one day. I'm going to pull for LSU tomorrow. So,
Do you have them winning, though?
Yeah. You do? I picked LSU. Yeah.
Who you got in this North Carolina, South Carolina showdown tonight?
I actually picked North Carolina in this one.
Me too.
They're actually both 2.5-point spreads. North Carolina's favored 2.5, and LSU is actually favored 2.5 over Florida State in Orlando, which is a little surprising to me. But I picked LSU to win, and I picked North Carolina to win. So we'll see how these two ACC versus SEC showdowns will go. The other one, there was 3 this week. Oh, the other one was Tennessee, Virginia, and Tennessee won big. and Tennessee won big, which I knew that. So,
yeah, I think Virginia. I don't know if you've heard me say it on our show, but I don't think Virginia's going to win a game this year. I mean, they might win one. They might be.
I don't know if I'm going to say 0, but they're not very good. I can tell you that.
Well, they play William and Mary. I think they might beat William and Mary. I think they might go 1-11. They pull a Colorado from last year, go 1-11, maybe. Now, okay, Josh Hart says he's calling in about 5 minutes, so I guess that means that we gotta stay on for at least 5 more minutes, right, Brad?
Yeah.
I don't know if Matt Jones would do that for Josh, but I think we'll do that for Josh. So.
We're gonna big time Josh.
Yeah, that's right. But what are some of the is LSU Florida State the only game happening tomorrow? Why is that even on a Sunday? It was on a Sunday last year too.
They do that every year on Labor Day weekend. So there's one game Monday night as well, Clemson and Duke on Labor Day.
Man, that'll be a not great game. I wouldn't think Clemson and Duke.
At Duke. Duke actually was 9-4 last year, and most people have no idea that they were 9-4.
I had no idea they were 9-4. That's news to me.
Most people have no idea that they were 9-4. They have a quarterback named Riley Leonard. Remember that name. He will probably be a first or second round pick in the NFL draft.
Riley Leonard.
Riley Leonard is his name. Right. They were 9-4 last year. It's Clemson's going to Duke. Now, Clemson's favored 13, and I actually picked Clemson to cover. So, but I don't think it'll be a lopsided game. I think Duke will stay in there for 2 or 3 quarters, and then Clemson will pull away, win by 14, 17, something like that is kind of what I figured. But
I think we're getting a Clyde Hare call here. Actually,
okay.
So, hey, what's up, Clyde? How you doing?
Good, just worn out, tired.
Been moving or packing to move?
It's like pretty much hell, pretty much.
Oh man.
What's up, Clyde?
Well, I'm sorry, my sister was talking to me. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good, man. How's it going? What do you think of the Cats?
I thought they played good. I watched the game on my phone on Funchester, the Facebook group. I don't know if you've heard of that group before, Funchester TV.
Funchester TV. No, I have not. I'm going to have to check that out. Brad's giving me the thumbs up over here, so maybe I'll have to look into that.
It's a Kentucky site.
Because we're Spectrum and the ESPN on Spectrum. Spectrum is having a war with Disney because Disney's trying to buy out ESPN from, I guess, Spectrum. So right now, Spectrum and Disney are in a war negotiation with Spectrum trying their best to keep ESPN right now. But I think Spectrum is failing miserably right now.
Seems like it. What a bad time for all that to be going on if you're a Kentucky fan, man, or a college football fan.
College football fan, yeah,
right. So
tell me about it. It sucks because all these people, of course, they over here, want to watch the game on their big old TV. They have a big screen TV or whatever, but then they're just stuck trying to watch it on a phone. Which it works, but it's not the same as watching on your big screen TV.
That's right. Well, what do you think about? How are you feeling? Do you feel better than you were expecting to? Not as good as you were expecting to? What's your takeaway from the game?
Well, you know what? I am impressed with the O-line. Thank God they've improved.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
Good Lord, that was I don't even know last year. This was a Kentucky O-line I'm familiar with. Especially the first year Will Levis was here. This is kind of that O-line. And then I feel like Larry could have played a little bit better, but he didn't play terrible. Now, I will question this. On 4th and 2, when we should have just punt the ball away, why did we go for it? And why did he throw an interception? He threw the ball out too quick, and he threw a pick. And I was like, why in the world are you doing that? Just punt the ball.
Yeah, I think what it was, and I think Josh is trying to call in here too. See, this is why we need a Shannon the Dude on this show to put the callers on hold and stuff like that. But I think what it was just a miscommunication thing. I don't really think it was Devin Leary's fault. I think maybe it was a timing issue because it looked like he was expecting Dane to go somewhere that he was not. Looked just like a miscommunication, mistiming thing going on there. But I didn't have a problem with them going for it, Clyde, because I think we were on Ball State's like 35 or 30 yard line. So it was like 2 yards. I think the crowd was into it. It's like, yeah, I think we could have gone for it. But, the interception doesn't bother me that much because it was 4th down. It's like it doesn't really matter anyway. It's like if we weren't going to convert it, then, it's not like it was a pick 6 or anything. So.
Yeah, and, it's just like I said, the first game jitters that were just – it's just the jitters thing right now. It ain't nothing really too worried to freak out because, last season a lot of people were freaking out because of the first game, and I see why. But this year, we got a better team. We're much improved. These transfers, they'll get in the swing of things. Same with Ray Davis. He scored 2 touchdowns, but he's just trying to get in the flow of this offense. Cohen can do a bunch of different things with him, just like with Dane Key and Mr. Barry on. So I think, and Larry, of course. So I think we'll be fine. I'm just happy to have Cohen back. And,
amen.
I really think this team is going to go places. I really do.
Amen. I do too, man. I do too. Well, thanks for calling in and go Cats. And I hope your moving goes well. When do you make the big move?
I'm sorry.
When do you make the big move? Is that next week?
I have to be officially out next Saturday. By the way, do you know what time we play next Saturday? Hopefully it's at nighttime because that way when
it's
I'm
3 p.m.
watch the game.
Yeah, I believe it's 3 p.m.
Eastern, I think.
Okay.
Eastern time,
Right, well,
3 p.m. Eastern.
I'll make it work. I will make that work.
Oh yeah, we all Kentucky fans. We always make it work. We always find time for our Cats. But all right, man. Well,
anyways, thank y'all. And I know Josh is calling, so I don't want to keep him. And I'm gonna get back to watching the show. And go Cats, and God bless.
Go Cats, and God bless.
Right,
that's a good way to end the call right there. Go Cats.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, Clyde.
We'll go. All right. Well, hopefully we can get Josh in here next.
Let me ask a quick question. Maybe you can ask Josh this. Did we score 44 points at all last year in a game?
I'm going to go with no because I don't remember that, and I feel like I would.
I'm just saying, where some of the Cats fans are kind of questioning the way we played today and stuff. Did we score 44 points last year in a game? I don't remember that.
I'll ask Josh right now because we got him getting ready to be on the phone here. Josh, how's it going, man?
Hey, it's going good. How you doing?
Doing well, man. What do you think of the Cats? Actually, Brad, we got a question for you. Brad and I were just talking about, did we ever score 44 points last year? Did we ever score that many points on anybody?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
And there's a couple people talking bad about Larry. My God, it's the first game.
Yeah.
We covered the spread. I was close on the points.
That's what I said, Josh.
It was 44-14. I was close. I was just off a bit.
Yeah.
We played exceptionally well today.
Yeah, I think we did too. So what are your big takeaways from the game? What are your big improvements that you would want to see for next week, you think, if any?
Let's see. Big improvement next week. Let's see here. Well, Kentucky's got to get better with better decision making, especially from Larry, I guess. Even though he's brand new.
Yeah.
He made a few bad choices today. They're not bad. It wasn't horrible. His first half was a little sluggish. Second half was a lot better. What else was it? I think we're going to be fine. Hold on.
Josh, I think you're breaking up just a little bit. Why don't you try? But you were fine at the beginning of the call. Why don't you try hanging up and calling right back? If that's cool.
Yep.
turning off and back on. That's how we do it. So yeah, that's
he seemed to be breaking up just a little bit.
Yes. But I don't know. What did you think? Well, I guess I thought Leary's decision making was actually okay. Let's see. All right. How are you now, Josh?
Yeah, I hear you good now.
Okay. Yeah. Now we're a little better. It seems like so. Yeah, I can hear you now. So you were talking about Leary's decision making. You think he could have made a little bit better decisions sometimes?
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, it's game one. I mean, we won by 30. We won 44 points. And what was crazy is like, dang, man, I'm going to get so close to score, but I'm not going to get right there. And then, I'm sorry, I forget the kid that transferred from Vanderbilt. He busted
Ray Davis.
I was like, yeah, Davis. I was like, yeah, boy, that's the cover of spread. You know how ESPN always has that bad beat?
Yeah.
On the show? That was a bad beat for somebody because
it was.
They thought they had that winner chicken dinner.
Yeah.
And that dude just broke their heart when he took off and hit that end zone. And,
that's what I said, Josh. Make sure you cover that spread.
He's told his team this year, it don't matter if they're down or they're up by 1 million points. His mentality is not to quit. And he told, Ray Davis, I think that's his name, right? Ray Davis?
Yep, that's it.
He said, I don't want you laying down. He said, I don't want nobody just to get a first down and lay down and end the game. They don't stop you. They don't stop you. He said, we got a new mentality at the University of Kentucky this year, and that's what I'm striving to do is make a better team. And we're going in with the whole deal of just wanting to.
And I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. And I wish Calipari was like that. Some just had like, hey, we're up by 25. Don't let up. Let's go. Let's win by 35.
Yeah, foot on the gas.
With the team this year, and I love what Coach Stoops is doing. But we lost. Did we lose a player today?
Kenneth Horsey. Yeah, Kenneth. We don't know for how long yet, but it certainly did not look good.
Yeah, that sucks.
It does.
That's 2 in a row now because that's the last thing we need is losing big key players. But
yeah, especially on the O-line too. Yeah.
Hopefully it's something minor and he can get back in 3 or 4 weeks, and it's not season-ending injury. But dang, I almost got that beer from you today. Almost.
What was your score prediction? My score prediction was 42-14. What was yours?
45-10.
Man, yeah, you were close too. Man, we were getting some. We were on a roll on the show on Thursday. We were picking some good scores for this game, so maybe we can keep that going for a few more weeks. Well, so what do you think of Leary? Like, do you think he's everything that you hoped that he would be?
Yeah, there was one time when they held the pocket good for him, and I seen him chuck it downfield like Levis did last year, and everybody's complaining about his accuracy. I didn't think it was that bad today. And he threw that ball down. They got that pass interference in the end zone, and I think they scored on that drive. But, people are always going to be haters and always be critics, and I'm like, come on, it's game one. It's not like we're 8 games into the season and we're having these mistakes. Well, it's game one.
How about our special teams too? Like I'm singing praises for that.
46-yard field goals or something like that. Ah, man.
Oh, I was happy.
Just being able to snap the ball was pretty impressive.
We did it. Now, it's cool that you got Brad with you.
Yeah, man.
So cool.
Well, thanks for calling in as always. Georgia is only up 7-0 on UT Martin. We're getting close to halftime here, so keep your eyes on that game. That would be.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, I said it the whole time in the last month or month and a half since we've been talking about football. We gonna beat Georgia.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it, man. We're still on the hype train.
We're gonna beat Georgia. We're gonna beat Tennessee. We're gonna stop Florida.
Oh, dude, Florida is not good. We're gonna
I'm not impressed with Florida at all.
Yeah, we're gonna stomp Florida. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I can't wait.
Well, thanks, man, for calling in as always, and we'll talk to you next Thursday, if not before.
Yeah, go Cats. God bless you guys. Have a great night. What a way to start our season out. Putting 44 points up on the board. Can't ask for no better.
That's right. Hey, if Stoops is pissed about a 30-point win, I think we're in a good spot to start the season. So
yeah.
I hope we put 44 up all season. If we put 44 all season, yeah, we might go undefeated. Who knows?
Let's do it, man. All right. Well, thanks for calling in.
All right. Have a great night.
You too.
See you later, Josh.
The 44, it is a little misleading because, we have the special teams and defensive points, but there's still
means we put up 30 points on offense,
which isn't bad.
We only averaged 20.4 points per game last year, and that was overall. That wasn't on the offense.
Still went 7-5 in the regular season.
Yeah.
So, with that. So
right.
If 30-something is us on a bad day, maybe that's good. I don't know. Maybe we're putting too much of a positive, optimistic spin on things, but maybe not. Maybe we're just being homers. Who knows? But
it's possible.
We gotta. Only time will tell. So we gotta wait till next week. But well, hey, thanks guys for tuning in to us. We really appreciate it. And thanks Brad from College Sportscast for joining me. He's going to be joining me on most, if not all, these this season. And then we might even have John Hammonds on here.
We'll do post games. Try to do them each week. Next week. The game, I think, is at 3 Eastern time, so it'll be, maybe around 6:30-ish or something like that when the game ends next week. We will try to be a little bit closer to end of game time. This week I was working, so we had to, put it off for a couple of hours after the game. So, but we'll try to be within 30 minutes of the end of the game or something, 30, 45 minutes within the end of the game next week. So y'all tune in and catch us. We're going to have some fun and do these post games with Coleman. I appreciate Coleman asking me on to do these, and it's a great time. I love talking sports, and I love talking Kentucky, and doing a post game and some call-ins and stuff is pretty good. So
absolutely.
Thank you, Coleman. I appreciate it.
Anytime, man. And when are you guys going live, by the way? When's College Sportscast do their show?
So my shows, I'm actually doing 3 a week right now. So
oh man,
yeah. So we have a show Tuesday nights. This is going to be the debut of this show, actually on Tuesday night, called the Big Fuss Show.
Big Fuss,
and it's a debate show where we kind of go back and forth.
Nice.
It's a debate show. We'll have some topics and do a couple of segments and go back and forth. And then on Thursday nights, we do a game day pick'em show. And that's where we pick about 10 or 12 games. We use the spreads and we pick some of the biggest games of the weekend.
Yep.
And then on Sundays, we have our weekend wrap up show. And Tuesday and Thursdays is at 8 Central. And Sunday is at 3 p.m. Central.
Gotcha. Nice. Well, what's that?
So tune in. We would love to have you. I know we're not talking just Cats. We are College Sportscast. We are covering all the topics, but we do cover Kentucky stuff when it warrants it. So,
Yeah. No, and then on my end of things, on Talking Kentucky, we go live every Thursday night at 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. So you can always catch us on Thursday nights. You can catch Brad on those days he just listed. And then you can catch us every football post game this year. So a lot of opportunities to talk some Kentucky and to talk some college sports. So Cats get the win, 44-14.
Go Big Blue.
Go Big Blue for Coleman Scott and for Brad Harvey and for Kentucky. This has been the Talking Kentucky postgame show, And we'll see y'all next time. Go Cats.